TNA Rebellion is coming to Southern California, going to be in LA. We're going to make sure we're going to have a great time with all this. On Sunday, April 27th for the pay-per-view, we get to talk to Frankie Kazarian, three-time TNA World Tag Team Champion, six-time TNA X Division Champion. You got a million things going on. Frankie, fill us in what's happening right now.
Well, obviously a very big pay-per-view, TNA Rebellion, this Sunday, April 27th from the Galen Center on the campus of USC, where the USC Trojans play basketball. And pretty important match, pretty huge match for me, getting to finally, once again, compete for the one title that's eluded me for my entire career, and that's the TNA World title. And I'm looking to remedy that this Sunday.
Well, listen, you get to call your shot thanks to Bound for Glory. You're walking around with the cup behind you right here.
Yep.
It's almost a homecoming. You were a Southern California kid coming back. We're going to be in downtown LA for this one, and then in Irvine later on in the week. What's it like, having to have gone away to get more recognized at home? Because you've made a name for yourself all around the world, and here we are back in TNA. TNA is kicking doors down, and yet it's always that weird thing of like, I have to go away from home to be recognized where I grew up, because everybody sees you coming up and they're like, that's just Frankie and that's his dream, and here you are, you made it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like two parallels is kind of what you're saying. Like, I cut my teeth in Southern California, all over California, but Southern California specifically. And, I'm the beginning, the first 5 years plus of my career, it was every week somewhere up and down the roads in Southern California, be it Los Angeles area, San Diego, Orange County, going up to Northern California. And then, kind of leaving that behind to pursue bigger and better dreams, be it TNA and Japan and other stuff that came along in my career. And then, TNA itself, cutting my teeth there and being a TNA original and spending the better part of a decade plus there, and then, leaving there in 2014. So it's very much a full two-circle moment for me. Uh, Getting to compete in a big TNA pay-per-view event, Rebellion, literally blocks away from where I grew up watching WWF live events at the LA Sports Arena, which is no longer there. It's all, it's none of that's lost on me. I'm taking it all in. I'm very much in the moment and appreciative of the opportunity I have, and appreciative to bring TNA back to Southern California, which is a market we've not been in a long time, and to be a hometown guy, to be a SoCal guy, and that's something I've always wore with a lot of pride, and I've always flown the flag for Southern California and SoCal wrestling and all that. So it's a very, very important and very big weekend for me and for my company, for TNA.
You fought so long to get the TNA title. You're getting this shot. This is the one title that's eluded you. And here we have Ethan Page, who left TNA and is now part of NXT, weaseling his way into the match between you and Joe Hendry.
I mean, Ethan Page, yeah, you could say that, weaseling his way in, which is exactly what it is. But it's also very smart, and it's real recognizes real, and I can respect the way I snuck in there and got a title shot. Ethan Page, very, very dangerous, very talented, very smart wrestler. So I don't have to like it, but it's a reality, and I'm going to deal with it. And a snake can recognize another snake, so I see exactly what he's doing. Part of me respects what he's doing, and I'm very aware of what he brings to the table.
In this instance, it's slightly easier, I would say, because you don't necessarily have to pin Joe Hendry to win the title, but Ethan can get in the way of you winning the title from Joe. So it creates this interesting dynamic in these three-way dances that, it makes it even a little more dangerous, and a lot more ring psychology is needed.
Right. I mean, it's, as opposed to a straight up one versus one match, there's that variable, that extra guy. And he could either be beneficial or he could be a hindrance. I look at it like I have two opponents, equally dangerous and equally talented. But the competitor in me wants to pin Joe Hendry's shoulders to the mat. 1, 2, 3. He is the TNA World Champion. Look, I'm going to get that title no matter how I can. But the competitor in me wants to beat him in the middle of the wrestling ring and prove that I am the better wrestler in my home state and become TNA World Champion.
Right. You want to beat the guy with the belt, not
Correct.
the secondary distraction.
Correct. And, even calling somebody like Ethan Page a secondary distraction is, that's downplaying how challenging it's going to be with a guy like him in there. And make no bones about it. He has something to prove. He wants to be the first guy to kind of cross the line, so to say, and win a title in TNA. And he's very capable. I'm just not going to allow that. I see myself as the protector, a gate savior of TNA. And that's why I'm not going to let someone like Ethan Page take our title. And I'm not going to let somebody like Joe Hendry misrepresent our title anymore.
The only thing I'm going to give Joe Hendry credit for at this moment is that really catchy tune. It's an earworm. No, but he's worked his butt off to get where he's at. But you still have to prove that you are Mr. TNA at this point.
Yeah, look I never got into professional wrestling to be viral sensation or a meme or famous. I wanted to be a pro wrestler because I love the art of professional wrestling. And I have always, let my action do my talking until recently. And I take a lot of pride in that. I take a lot of pride in being a TNA original. Look, there's only 2 of us left, myself and Eric Young. That's it in terms of TNA day one guys. And I know he takes a lot of pride in that, as do I. And I 100% believe that I am the guy to lead TNA into this new era. Look, we're trending upwards in every measurable metric, and I should be the guy leading the charge as we do.
Yeah, you definitely need to be the flag bearer in this one.
Agreed. That's I know this company inside and out. I've been in this company through ups and downs, through good times and bad, through the days when we were told we're not going to last another week, and I've heard it all. And yet here we are, still succeeding, arguably more popular than ever. And my face needs to be the guy when they tune to the TNA webpage or when they tune to Impact. My face needs to be the one they see, not Joe Hendry's. I'm the guy.
Right. And especially because you've been there since it was the weekly pay-per-view era, that it was just like, hey, $10, you got to pay to see it week to week, got the TV deal. You've been there all along. Now is Frankie Kazarian's time to pick up the belt, hold it high, and prove that not only are you Mr. Southern California, you are Mr. TNA.
100%. And that's all, I've flown the flag for TNA since I came back in January a few years ago. And that's that. I made no bones about it when I came back. When I was asked, why did you come back? So yes, TNA is my home, but I came back because there's something missing on this wall, and that's the TNA World Title. And throughout my career in TNA, if you look back, I've not been handed anything, but I have not had the opportunity to fight for the world title maybe 5 times.
Right.
When you look at it, and when you take into consideration how long I've been with the company, that's not a lot. So I'm not taking this one for granted, because who knows when the next title shot's coming around. It took me going through 19 guys, winning the Call Your Shot Gauntlet to get this opportunity, and I'm not letting this slip through my fingers.
No, absolutely. Plus, TNA is where you met your wife. So, I mean, this is your home.
It is, yeah. I actually met her at a Border City wrestling show for Scott D'Amore right before I started with TNA, but that's where she managed us and we became friends. And had it not been for TNA, probably that wouldn't have happened. So TNA is a special place in my heart for that reason aside, aside from all the incredible moments and amazing people I've met and things we've all created together.
Everything that's going on, TNA's popularity and its resurgence, we're so excited for it, especially Rebellion being at USC. When you get the call, like you've worked your butt off to get there, and you went through the 19 guys to call your shot. Well, intergender, so this was all over the place. You get to call the shot. There has to be no hesitation of, TNA title, whether it was Moose that still held it, whether it was Nick Nemeth, whether it's Joe Hendry, it doesn't matter who has the belt. It's the belt that matters.
Yeah, and no disrespect to any other title because they're all equally important. Look, I loved my time as a TNA X Division champion. That's what put me on the map. I loved my time as a TNA Tag Team champion with Christopher Daniels. A lot of people still love and remember those days, but uh, it's a situation of been there, done that. Again, my mo since I came back was to get that world title, and winning this Call Your Shot Gauntlet. And look, at a lot of people thought I was going to, maybe take advantage of Joe after a 25-minute match, or and look, at I teased that a lot, but in the back of my mind, I always saw April 27th, Los Angeles, on the calendar, and said, you know what, I'm going to do that in Southern California. I'm going to have my moment. I'm going to create my own moment, and I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah, this is something I've always wanted to ask a main eventer. And we have 8 matches on the main card. You're closing out the show. There has to be that build. Like when I was wrestling in high school and in college, I was competing in judo. I was in the heavyweight division. So we were, at least in high school, we were always the last match. So we had to go from 97 to 265. And by the time they get to you, either your adrenaline has depleted, your energy is down because you've been supporting everybody else. How do you keep that alive going through 7 matches prior before you get the call or the knock on the door going, all right, it's time?
It's pacing. It's the same way you pace yourself in a match, the same way you would pace yourself in a amateur wrestling event, in a judo tournament, in a judo match. Um, you don't gas out immediately. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You pace yourself throughout the day. Yes, we have a long day. We're there around noon. Show starting at probably 5 o'clock our time. I'm probably not going to be on until 20 minutes after 7. That's a long day. So you pace yourself in terms of when you stretch, when you warm up, when you get ready, when you eat, when you don't eat. Mentally, you're focused all day, but the adrenaline starts pumping a little bit faster as the minutes close in, and it's all a matter of getting yourself to the level you need to get to, not psyching yourself up, not getting too ready, not over preparing, because that's something you could do too. So, and I've always been very good about pacing myself. So, and look, at this is not my first dance. I've been in the main event before, but the stakes have never been higher. But I'm going to approach this the way I approach every big match. I'm going to pace myself, and I'm going to be more prepared than my opponents on Sunday.
And how do you keep the mindset that you're only focused on the title match? You're not looking at the X division because, like, oh, who's coming up on my heels? Or, oh, what happens with the tag team division if something slips and this team breaks up and now they want the TNA title run? How do you keep yourself hyper focused on just the world title?
I purposely don't watch anything else that's going to happen on that show, at least not live. And that's not a matter of disrespect. Look, when I walk past the monitor and I see something happening, I'll stop, and I'll see, or if there is a match that I'm, for instance, the Ultimate X match, maybe I'll keep an eye on. But I'm so hyper focused on what I have to do, and on days of shows, especially big shows, admittedly, I'm very selfish. Look, I know with our roster, I know everybody's going to go out there and absolutely kill it because the TNA roster delivers, especially on big pay-per-views,
Yeah.
big PLEs. So I know what's going to happen. I know there's going to be an incredible show that happens before me. So I don't need to sit and watch that. I know what's going to happen. I'm selfishly focused on what I have to do on my match and the end result.
All right. So this begs the question. You are a Southern California boy. We're going to put it like this. When you win the TNA world title,
I like that.
what is the celebratory dinner afterwards?
I mean, God, it's SoCal. It's got to be In-N-Out Burger. I mean, look, I'm a pretty dialed in when it comes to my nutrition, and don't really allow myself that many opportunities to indulge. But when I do, I love In-N-Out. Anybody from SoCal knows that's the move. A couple double doubles, order of fries, maybe even a shake. That's the let the diet gets thrown by the wayside. No pun intended. They're open late, especially on weekends. So that's the move. I don't need just certainly don't need a fancy steak dinner or anything afterwards. I need me some In and Out. That's any SoCal native that says otherwise is wrong.
Right. I was scared you were going to say Tommy Burger because if it was Tommy, you'd never make it to the next TV taping.
No, oh God, no, 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 no. It's certainly In and Out, and hopefully there are people are listening because look at, I would be a great spokesperson for In and Out. Just saying, but yeah, that's the move. That's the move, regardless, man.
Right. Listen, Frankie Kazarian, it's a pleasure catching up with you. It's been far too long. TNA Rebellion, April 27th from USC. Where can we meet? Can we follow you on social media? And remind everybody after TNA Plus, where are we going to be able to sit there and celebrate with you? Let's say via online.
Sure. So I mean, Twitter or X or whatever it's these days, Frankie Kazarian. On Instagram, Frankie Kazarian _official. I'm pretty active on there in terms of a lot of baseball talk, a lot of Southern California baseball, Angel talk specifically, a lot of music talk. That's where I will be. Maybe if I'm feeling generous, I'll post some clips of what I'm doing with my new world title after Sunday, and then obviously just as big May 1st and May 2nd at the Brand Event Center in Irvine, California, where I just threw out the first pitch last night, which was awesome. We're going to be there
UCI
live
versus
TV
Cal State
taping.
Fullerton.
That's right. That's right, man. So it's a lot happening in SoCal. It's a big week for me. It's a big week for TNA. Big week for Southern California wrestling fans, and I'm happy to be at the forefront of that.
Listen, Frankie Kazarian, thank you so much. TNA Rebellion, Sunday, April 27th on TNA Plus. Can't wait to see you face to face in Irvine. Congratulations on everything. Pay-per-view is going to blow up and make sure everybody's going to be excited about it. Thank you, and I can't wait. Like I said, this is how excited I am that I'm rambling.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. Likewise, I appreciate the support, and looking forward to seeing everyone this Sunday.